Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the 3D for a second here. Okay, so I recently read this Reddit post that really made things click, and I know it would make things click for you as well. Okay, I'm always on Reddit, like you're trying to find out like manifestation advice, because a lot of them give like really good solid manifestation advice, and it's like anonymous accounts, right? And it's just like there's no reason why anyone would lie or cap or like anything like that. So like that's why I really like Reddit, Twitter, this, that. So yeah, definitely look on those platforms for manifestation content. Of course, YouTube, TikTok are great. But yeah, there's a lot of helpful information on there as well. But basically, I saw this post that said that um, when you focus less on the 3D, when you focus less on the 3D version of your specific person that you're trying to manifest, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, really, I do give the example of a specific person a lot, you have more imagination and power to create in the 4D. Okay? Again, when you limit yourself, or like when you stop checking the 3D, you're cutting off that 3D version of them, okay, in whatever way, shape, or form. This could look like maybe like unfollowing them on social media or just not checking their social media. I know for some people it's harder to do that. So like my point is, like, I know some people like ask me like, oh, what if I blocked my SP and followed them? It doesn't matter. They will find a way to contact you. There's always a way to contact you. You could even run into them, you could bump into them. As long as you're doing the manifestation work, the inner work, the self-concept work, changing your assumptions about them, relationship, love, life, whatever, you will definitely like find a way to run into them, or they will find a way to contact you, I should say. Okay, but that's the thing, you guys. When you check, when you stop checking the 3D, or you stop giving as much validation to the 3D, okay, what happens is that you create more space and energy to create this better version of your person. That's why people say like live in the 4D. Okay, live in like literally another dimension. And the way to do that, you guys, the easiest hack is to stop tracking the 3D. Like if you have the privilege of like not actually being connected with your SP, which I realize is a blessing in disguise. Okay, it does make it easier to ignore. Okay, you need to like just stop checking their social media, stop checking for like validation from them. I know it's easier said than done, but like let's say you are connected on social media, you want to be connected, that's completely fine as well. But like like don't just post for their attention. And like I know a lot of you check to see like, oh, did they watch your stories, did they like your post, this, that. You have to find some way to kind of detach yourself from that. Okay, so like, okay, if they liked your post, they liked your story, that's great. Okay, but is it the end goal? Are they with you right now? No, but like you can use that as a sign. Okay, well, things are working, there's movement, that's awesome. But like don't get so attached to it that that's all you manifest, because sometimes like those are breadcrumbs, right? Like you should be together with your SP should be doing a lot more than just liking your posts and stories. Like they should be like contacting, right? But again, there's nothing wrong in like being happy with that you know with that kind of movement. But the thing is, you have to keep going until you get your full manifestation. And you have to like not check to see what they're doing, who they're talking to, following this, that. I know a lot of you guys do that, and this might sound like a limiting belief, but I have noticed in my own experience, if you don't do that, it would expedite the process. It would literally accelerate the process so much more. Because like when you're not spending time reacting to that 3D version of them, again, you're giving yourself more space and power and energy to create the reality that you actually want. Okay, and that's also very important. Okay, that's why people say don't track the 3D. I know a lot of you look for movement or have things happen. Sometimes you have gotten movement by checking the 3D, but if you're at that place where you're a little bit vulnerable, you're just like, nope, like I just I don't want to like keep going through this. You keep kind of like you keep tracking their socials, and like it keeps like hurting a nerve in you. You're strengthening a certain neural pathway while doing that. So like my point is, like, even if you want to track the 3D, I'm not saying like don't ever track the 3D, but like you have to do it with the intention that, okay, like whatever I see in the 3D, it's not gonna bog me down, it's not going to block my manifestation. Okay, it's not going to affect me, it's not going to hurt me. You have to go in with that mentality. And some of you can do that, but a lot of you, like and I don't blame you, I've been there, it's a little bit harder to do that than not. So that's why it's really important to like not track the 3D, because why are you giving so much power to that old story, that dead story? The 3D is literally the dead story, it's the old story playing out. Okay, like checking the 3D to see like if they've changed, like what they're doing, this, that. Again, like you're giving, if you're trying to manifest a new version of your SP, a much better version of your SP, then you have to like not keep like reviving that old story, that old 3D version, okay? If you keep checking the 3D and your SP hasn't shown up yet, again, like you're giving more power and credence to that old story, that old 3D version of them. You have to drop you have to drop the story, you guys. You have to drop the old story. You have to drop the 3D. You have to be completely detached from what's going on in 3D. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it really does not matter. The only 3D that matters is the reality that you're living in, okay? And I don't want you to be in like this weird, like, place where you're like in between timelines, because that is frustrating, you guys. And I will just say in my own experience, when you stop checking the 3D so much, okay, and you just like, you literally just don't, okay, you just don't check the 3D, you are more likely to have your person come back perfectly. Because what happens sometimes is that you keep checking the 3D, things are happening, and it's like you will get movement. I have seen like people manifest their SPs back even while checking the 3D, but there's still something a little bit off. Like they're just like, wait, this is not the SP that I want. And it can even be a little bit painful. This is sometimes what causes people to like, either drop their manifestation completely, or like, just it's kind of like the make or break. So my point is like, the less you pay attention to the 3D, the more you're just focused on creating the version of them in reality and tapping into the version of yourself that has everything that you want, the faster and easier you will get it, and like the better you will get your manifestations, you guys. High quality manifestations only. You only accept the best version of your person, okay? I have noticed that like when people came back into my life and I wasn't checking the 3D, I wasn't checking to see what they were doing, this, that, they came back exactly how I wanted them. Exactly, like, verbatim. Like maybe there were a couple things, like, couple loose ends, but they weren't even like, major things that like, I cared about. There's like certain like major things are just like, okay, well, this I can like, okay, it's not a big deal. But like I had like multiple SPs come back. But the thing is, you guys, like, again, the 3D checking, especially if you're in kind of a vulnerable place and you get triggered easily and you've been like, feeling down, like it just has to stop. Don't put yourself through that. You got to liberate yourself from the 3D, okay? Liberate yourself from your old mindset, from your old like beliefs, from your old dominant beliefs. If you're trying to create a new version of your, again, reality SP, then you have to like give them space to do that, give them space to show up that way. But if you keep like, reacting to the 3D, texting them, keep like, checking like the 3D to see what's going on, then that's not like, it just makes it harder. Like don't make it harder than it needs to be, okay? Like that is like one of the biggest things I can say. Like, if you can simplify a process, okay, then do it that way. If there's an easy way to get there and a hard way to get there, always choose the easier way. Always. Okay? And like there's no caveats. It's not like, okay, like, okay, what's the catch here? Like there's no catch. But you really just, again, the less you pay attention to the 3D, the more imagination, the more power you have to make things work for you. Okay? Like the imagination is the biggest thing, right? Like it's where things are created. And that's why people say like detach, like don't like be on social media all the time. I'm not saying delete social media, but sometimes it does help to like not be like so like overly connected all the time. So like when you go inwards, again, you have more power and space to create the reality that you actually want, and you're not getting bogged down by the 3D. So that's why it's also very, very important to just limit yourself. I'm not saying completely cut yourself off from social media, this, that, but if you are at a point where you're just like, I'm really sick of this, I just want my manifestations fast, then that's fine. Like when it comes to friends and stuff, definitely be on social media for friends. That's completely fine. But I really do think this takes a lot of self-discipline, and once you have that self-discipline, you're unstoppable, and your SP will come back exactly the way you want them to, okay? And like it just, because you don't deserve to go through any more triggers. I know for a lot of you guys, like maybe even just talking to your SP, maybe even just the thought of talking to your SP kind of stresses you out, because you're just like, okay, what if they say something else that's going to trigger me right now? What if they're going to do something? Because like you're heavily invested, and that's okay. Like again, you can be into someone, that's not going to push them away. You can want to be with someone, you can care about someone, you can love someone, you can like someone, you can crush on someone. That's not, like that'll never push them away. And you also just have to come with the mentality and mindset that, okay, whenever I like someone, they like me as well. Whatever. Again, this is about setting your own like rules and assumptions. But if you keep like changing things, like, I mean, if you keep doing the same thing again and again and expecting different results, that's insanity. That's what Albert Einstein said, right? So something needs to change. Either like change the mindset that you're going in with when it comes to like checking the 3D, or you just what do you call, you just don't do it. Just get rid of the 3D. You guys, that's the thing. If you don't like your current 3D right now, it's really bothering you, it's really irritating you, the best way to get rid of it is to not give any attention. Is to literally just like get rid of it. To like, of course, like do your like daily routines and stuff like that. But I know social media, it's definitely like make or break kind of thing. Like social media has definitely like ruined like manifestations of relationships. Oh, I saw this, I saw that. That's why you have to be disciplined. I promise you, there are other things you can be doing other than checking social media. Every time you feel inclined to go on their profile, just affirm, just be like, no, I know, I trust them completely. I trust them. They're like, the best partner ever. They're so loyal. They're so committed. They're so trustworthy. I feel so safe and secure in my relationship, okay? There has to be some sort of mechanism that you resort to, and the situation will change itself. I promise you. I promise you. This is all in your mind. The 3D, you guys, it's not even real. It's just like, a reflection of what's in your mind. It's the mirror, but you cannot change, anything. Like, you can't change your reflection by like literally physically manipulating the mirror. You need to change yourself, right? Like, I give that example of like, okay, if you look in the mirror and you're wearing a green shirt but you want to wear a blue shirt, it's not like you like stick a blue shirt onto the mirror, right? Like, no, you go and change. And sometimes there's just no point checking the mirror, because I'm like, okay, if I don't have that blue shirt right now, like, I know the mirror is not going to reflect it, right? But one day it will. Like, that's the thing. Like, okay, maybe the mirror analogy isn't the best, but like, you guys, your person will reach out to you. They're like, as long as you're doing the inner work, they will reach out to you. And I'm telling you guys, like, I have like experienced this. And one piece of advice that I would give is that not checking the 3D, it will limit your triggers, therefore smooth the process, therefore your SP will come back in a much better way, and the entire thing will be smooth sailing, and you just you'll be happy. You'll be like, oh my gosh, like that's all I need to do, just not track the 3D. Because again, it's the dead story, it's the old story, and I wish like people talked about this more. It is definitely like a big topic in the community, but like if you have the privilege of like not tracking the 3D, which I know that's not the case with everyone's SP situation, or like whatever it is they're trying to manifest, you need to make use of that privilege, okay? If there's an easier path available to you to get from point A to B, take that. Take that. If all it requires is for you to not check the 3D, I promise you, you'll be fine. I promise you, like, your person is inside, like, they're you. They're literally you. Even if you miss them, like, you miss a part of yourself that, they represent. Okay, you gotta stand on business. You gotta stand up. Take them off the pedestal. They should be wondering what you're doing. They should be making accounts to stalk you. They should be getting manifestation coaching on how to manifest you. Okay, and I have seen that happen, you guys. I have seen people manifest their SPs that told them like, oh, I don't love you, I don't want to be with you. They've gone to tarot readings that said, yeah, it's over, it's never gonna happen. I have seen people come back and tell them, no, I do love you, I did love you this entire time, I take that back. Your SP said something triggering, did something triggering. They won't do that again. They won't do that again. They'll apologize. They'll more than make things up to you, okay? But don't cheat on your future with your past. Stop replaying certain events. If you're going to replay certain events, you might as well revise them in a positive way. Like, no, they've actually always been so loyal to me. They've been so nice to me. They've been so respectful to me, okay? And like, you guys, they will come back obsessed with you. I am not even kidding when I say anything can turn around. You can, it's not so much about changing people. It's about changing the perception with which you are viewing people and the reality. It's about changing your lens, with which you view the world. And just like, again, don't take anything so seriously. That's the thing. Like, detachment really is key. Again, not necessarily detaching from your person, but it's like, okay, like, if something happens, if it's not something that you want, then just you got to treat it like a dream. Like, okay, it's just a dream. Like, people aren't attached to dreams or nightmares. Like, they'll have a nightmare and like maybe they'll be like kind of stunned for like the first minutes, first couple minutes they wake up, and then they go about their day. That's literally how you have to treat the reality, because again, we're shifting timelines, you guys, every second. You are in a different timeline than you were before you started watching this video. Things definitely changed, and that's the case because things are moving, right? Like, I'm looking outside, I see cars, trucks moving, I see people walking, right? That's why, like, that reality is not static. It's dynamic. It's always changing. Okay, like, you literally have to view reality as a movie projector. So like, with the movie projector, like, if you guys have like, seen those old movie projectors, I feel like, even like newer like technology is kind of based on this technology, the older technology where, like stop motion films, or like, they were just a bunch of pictures, right? If you guys, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at explaining certain things, but how like you have like those sticky notes, and like you animate on those sticky notes, right? Like, if there's like a point and you want that point to move, like you just, okay, on like one sticky note you'll put the point here, second one, right? And it'll look like an animation, right? Like, same with like film projectors, they're like that. There's every single scene you know, like even if it's like a 5 minute scene, there's probably like, you know, thousands of like, you know, pictures behind that scene, thousands of like, there's a specific word that I'm thinking of, but I hope you guys know what I'm talking about, right? It's like a stop motion film. That's exactly what, like, you guys, the 3D is. It is shifting literally every second, okay? Once that really clicks, once that really hits, once you understand how powerful we are and that manifestation is real, that, you know, like, we can literally change our entire lives. You can go from 0 to 100 real quick. Because if you've gone from, like, you know, really happy to rock bottom, like, I mean, you can go the other way too. Okay, it's just that we have, like, you know, some human, like, like human made resistance that we put towards certain things, right? Like, if you can spiral downwards, you can spiral upwards. But this is a matter of being conscious of your thoughts, being conscious of, like, you know, your actions, even in the 3D. That's why, you guys, I'm not saying you need to become a monk or something, but, you know, there's retreats actually in, I think, Buddhism, maybe some other, like, religions and, like, you know, cultures as well, where, like, you know, you literally don't do anything. Like, you know, you just, like, it's a silent retreat. You don't talk to anyone, you don't check social media, right? Even, like, be careful with your words, because words are energy. Every single thing is manifesting. You know, that's why there's some monks that go on, like, you know, talking, I don't know, I don't think this is called this, but, like, you know, like, talking fast. Like, you know, they just don't talk. They go on, like, there's a word for it, like, silent retreats. Yeah, like, that's what I said, like, silent retreats. But, like, you know, there's monks that just don't talk to anyone for days, because, you know, they're gathering themselves, they're going inwards. And it's okay to take breaks. Actually, some of the smartest, wisest people do that. They're not on social media every day consuming so much content. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's like, you know, if you need to take a break, you guys, it helps a lot. Okay, you need to do whatever you got to do to stop checking the 3D. If you feel like you need to temporarily cut your specific person off, stop talking to them, delete them off social media, you know that, okay, they're going to delete you back, they will still find a way to reach out. It does not matter how bad the circumstances are. Everything is a circumstance, and circumstances do not matter. Some people are just like, okay, what if I did something bad? What if I said something mean? That is a circumstance. Circumstances do not matter. As long as you revise that in your head, they will get those messages. They'll be like, oh, you know, maybe they won't even remember it. Whatever went down between the both of you, they won't even remember it. Or they'll have a different memory of it. They're like, oh, it wasn't even that big of a deal. I know there's been some times where I thought, like, oh, I really messed up. Like, oh my gosh. And then people are just like, wait, you're making such a big deal. You're overthinking things. Like, you know, people have actually told me I'm overthinking things, and, like, sometimes, like, it's been a good thing, because I'm like, oh, okay, it's really not that big of a deal. It happens, you know, everyone makes mistakes, right? So, you know, same with your specific person. You know, if there's something that they said that you didn't like, just revise it. No, they never said that, and they will never say that again. They will never do that again. But you need to see them as, like, you know, that ideal version of themselves. You need to see them as someone that's loyal, someone that has eyes for you and only you, someone that, you know, begs to be in your life, someone that worships you, someone that's healthily obsessed with you, someone that will do anything for you. Okay, you guys, like, I have seen this happen. I've seen people go from, like, you know, the most, like, cold, hard, like, stoic people to, like, the most loving, sweet, kind, caring, devoted people that are, like, only have eyes for, like, you know, their person. I've seen players, literal F boys, F girls, you know, whatever, go from being that to, like, the most committed, in love people ever. And it's like, you wouldn't even think, like, I'm like, I feel like, you know, I was in a different reality when I saw this happening. I was like, okay, did you guys, like, shift, like, universes? Or, like, it literally felt like I was in a parallel reality. I was experiencing a parallel version of this person. Like, you know how people talk about, like, oh, do you think, like, realities exist? Do you think, like, you know, there's a parallel you in another universe that's doing something completely different? It's all happening on Earth, you guys. It's not another universe. It's your mentality. The other universes are nothing but your mentality. Okay, like, Earth is like a physical space, right? Like 3D. Right, but then there's different versions of it. There's a 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D, whatever. We're constantly shifting realities every second. There's parallel realities stacked on top of each other. Okay, but if you want to get to another parallel reality where you have everything you want and you want to stay there, you need to detach yourself from the reality that you're in that you don't like. You need to even detach yourself from past realities, because, again, that was just a parallel reality. Even the past is just a parallel reality. It's our perception of time that sees past the past as something else. Okay, like, that sees the past as the past, but technically it's like, you know, the way that humans observe time, it's just a little bit different, right? So that's why, like, even the future, it's just a possibility. The past, again, it's all in our mind. Nothing exists except the present moment. So you gotta, like, you know, fulfill, like, you know, the present moment as much as possible, or, like, you know, you got to live in the present moment as much as possible. And if you want a good future, you got to really invest in the present moment as much as possible. And the way to do that is by not, you know, giving too much credence to the past that you didn't like. Okay, it's over with. It doesn't have to keep repeating, but you have to make that conscious decision, and it takes a little bit of practice. It's a little bit hard at first, I'm not gonna lie, but detaching gets a lot easier. You just need to practice it. And the best way to do that, and I will always say that in every video, is robotic affirming. You need to keep saying, like, nope, I'm in my desired reality. Nope, I'm in the perfect relationship. relationship. And that gets overruled, you guys. The past gets overruled. Old versions of your old versions of your SPs get overruled. Old versions of yourself gets overruled. Everything gets overruled, but you need to put in that work. You need to like continue to do that. You need to tell yourself like, okay, you know what do I want my reality to look like? How do I want my SP to show up as? I want them to have eyes for me and only me. I want them to commit to me fast. Maybe make some general assumptions. Men commit to me fast, women commit to me fast. Okay, people fall in love with me fast. They don't feel the need to like seek other options because I'm the only one. I'm the only and best option. No one compares to me. I'm irreplaceable. Okay, you will stop any sort of negative cycles that are happening. Okay, you will get that respect, that commitment, the love, the loyalty, everything that it is that you want. But it all starts with yourself, and it all starts with you standing on business and picking yourself up and not looking for external validation and limiting your access to the 3D, because it's the old story, you guys. Trust when I say, like, sometimes I'm like trying to think of an analogy, but it's like, let's say, like, okay, I don't know, sometimes my analogies are like really on point, but sometimes they're not. But it's just like, my point is, like, if you're trying to reach a certain destination, right, like you're trying to reach from like here to like somewhere you want to travel, right, like what's the point of like going like okay, I don't know, I was getting somewhere with this, but I need to think a little bit deeper. But my point is, like, like there's no point going back, right? Like if you want to get from here to another like country, like, and you're already halfway through, and like let's say there's a little bit of turbulence in the middle, okay, but you're halfway through, but you're scared that there's going to be turbulence in the future. Like, I mean, my point is, like, you're still going to get to your destination, right? Like, you 1000% are. Like, in the perfect world, planes just get from, point A to point B. Even if there's turbulence, along the way, you will still get to your destination, but there's no point reacting to the turbulence you felt like 20 minutes ago, right? It's over with. It's okay. That was old terrain. That was like, the old weather. That was like old weather patterns, or, whatever caused that turbulence. But like, my point is, like, you don't need to keep reacting to that. I know, like, it's a little bit different in the 3D because, emotions are involved. Obviously, that's different than the whole like plane analogy and turbulence, whatever. But like, I mean, you gotta like literally treat you and your manifestation as like, okay, I'm trying to get from point A to point B. I want to take the most optimized route possible. I want to have like the smoothest ride, the smoothest manifestation coming through, okay? And like, that's what you have to tell yourself. I just want to get from point A to point B in the smoothest way possible. No detours, no turbulence, point A to point B. You got to keep telling yourself everything that's happening is happening for me to get to where I want to be. Maybe that turbulence was needed. Maybe that plane went through that turbulence so the pilot could like, ramp up the gears, or like, instill more like security checks, or like, I don't really know how like planes work. But my point is, sometimes, you need to really just, sometimes negative things need to, I'm not saying they need to happen, but if they do happen, it's all just redirection. You got to figure out how to redirect that. Okay, like maybe, that turbulence showed that, like, maybe it made the pilots like recheck their fuel tank or gas tank, or just just like I said, instill like better, higher security, right? So I mean, yeah, that's all it really is, you guys. It's just like constantly just understanding that like you're in charge of your journey, okay? You're in charge of everything. Even like when it comes to plane turbulence, some people enjoy that. Some people are just like, oh, this is fun, and some people are super anxious. It's all about how you view things. It's all about your perception. Literally, people have beaten illnesses and like the worst circumstances by literally just thinking differently, by literally just having a different perception. Like, okay, you know what, yeah, I'm not gonna let this affect me. I just want to get from point A to point B. Whatever happens, it's all happening for me to get to where I want to be. Maybe it's happening for me to even accelerate, getting to where I want to be. Maybe I needed that detour for me to ramp up my manifestations and have more love and confidence, more, security and confidence in myself, love myself better than ever, believe in myself better than ever, more than ever, harder than ever, for me to get what I want. Everything is happening, you guys, for you, for your liberation, for you to like liberate yourself from certain mindsets, for you to love yourself more, for you to want more out of life, for you to maybe increase the stakes, have better and higher standards. Okay, so yeah, anyways, let me just go over these cards real quick. Yeah, we got I empower and lift others to be their best selves. Okay, I know for a lot of you guys, you are givers. You care a lot about other people, and understand that everything that you've given, even to your person, even if you didn't get that back, it all comes back to you. Okay, you just have to have that assumption that, okay, you know what, like, I'm a good person to other people. I've sometimes like helping other people with their manifestations helps you as well. Like, I have noticed that, like, for me, whenever I helped people with their manifestations, I would get a lot of good in my life, because I guess I just do have like, you know, that assumption that that's what happens. We also got I'm filled with gratitude. I love gratitude affirmations. It helps you stay in the present moment. So that's definitely something I recommend doing. Okay, just saying gratitude affirmations. And oh, I'm so grateful that I'm with my SP. I'm so grateful that I'm in my dream relationship. I'm so grateful that, you know, I feel so safe and secure in my relationship. I'm so grateful that, you know, I have my dream job. I'm so grateful that I'm living my dream perfect life. Okay. Yeah, also I do want to let you know that I have self-concept challenge going on my Patreon, as well as a science challenge where we get together as a group and collectively manifest for each other, thus amplifying and accelerating our individual manifestations. So if you are interested in that, do check out the description box below, where you will find my Patreon, okay? And you can sign up for those services through my Patreon. And yeah, I will end the reading right here. Thank you so much. Love and light.